Most people don't fail loudly. They drift. They wake up with decent intentions. They move through the day half awake. They go to sleep with a quiet sense that something was missed. Not ruined, just unused. Daily excellence is not about ambition. It's about attention. You already know what excellence looks like in your own life. Not in theory, in practice. You know which conversations you avoid, which small tasks you delay, which standards you quietly lower when no one is watching. Responsibility doesn't arrive as pressure, it arrives as recognition. This is not about becoming more intense, or more inspired, or more impressive. It's about seeing clearly what you already control and what you quietly let slip. Most people say they want discipline. What they usually mean is relief. Relief from the mental noise of unfinished things. Relief from the self-negotiation that starts every morning. Relief from the feeling that life is happening slightly off-center. Daily excellence is not heroic. It's often dull. It looks like doing the obvious thing at the obvious time without needing to feel ready. That's why it's uncomfortable. Because it removes excuses without attacking you. It simply stands there and waits. Responsibility doesn't accuse, it reflects. When you look honestly at your day, it shows you exactly where your standards are real and where they are only spoken. Not judged, just visible. Most frustration comes from this gap between what you say matters and what your schedule actually protects. Between what you claim is important and what you allow to be interrupted. You don't need more rules, you need fewer illusions. The illusion that tomorrow will be calmer, that motivation will arrive before action, that discipline should feel aligned instead of chosen. Daily excellence begins when you stop asking how you feel about a task and start asking whether it belongs to today. That's it. No drama, no transformation story, just the quiet shift from mood-based living to principle-based behavior. Responsibility is not heavy. Indecision is. When you decide in advance what a good day requires, the day stops arguing with you. It may still resist, but it no longer confuses you. This is where most people turn away. Because a mirror offers no escape routes. It doesn't insult you, it doesn't encourage you. It simply shows you what you did and what you didn't. Mastery begins there. Not with grand plans, but with a sober look at how you treat ordinary hours. Excellence is not something you add on top of life. It's how you handle the basics when no one is paying attention. How you begin things, how you finish them, how you behave when the outcome is small. Daily excellence asks a simple question. What standard did you live by today? Not the one you admire, the one you practiced. This question doesn't need an answer out loud. It changes you just by being asked. And once you see the truth of your own behavior, you can no longer pretend that progress is mysterious. It becomes practical, specific, close to home. That's where responsibility stops being abstract and starts becoming usable. Not as pressure, as clarity. Most responsibility is learned quietly, not through speeches, through consequences that repeat. You notice it when small neglects stack up. The unread message becomes tension. The delayed task becomes clutter. The unkept promise becomes distrust, even if only with yourself. Daily life is the teacher here, not ideas. You don't wake up disorganized by accident. You drift there through tiny permissions. Just this once, just today, just until things settle down. They rarely do. Responsibility shows up in ordinary places, in how you prepare for a day that looks boring, in how you clean up after yourself when no one benefits immediately, in how you keep agreements that offer no reward beyond self-respect. This is where people misunderstand discipline. They think it's about force. It's more about refusal. Refusing to renegotiate the basics every morning. Refusing to treat your future self as someone else's problem. refusing to act surprised by outcomes you rehearsed all week. Lived experience teaches a hard truth. Life responds to patterns, not intentions. You can mean well for years and still build a life that feels misaligned. Not because you're broken, because you were inconsistent. Excellence in daily life often looks unremarkable from the outside. You answer the email when it's uncomfortable. You stop scrolling when the task is still dull. You end the day slightly tired, not overstimulated. These moments don't feel like progress. They feel like restraint. But restraint compounds. The mind begins to trust itself again, not because you feel confident, but because you become predictable in your own behavior. That trust is rare, and it changes how effort feels. When you know you will do what needs doing, decision fatigue fades. You stop bargaining with time. You stop resenting structure. Structure becomes relief. Responsibility in real life is not moral. It's mechanical. If you don't manage energy, it leaks. If you don't manage time, it fragments. If you don't manage attention, it gets sold. None of this is personal. It's just how systems behave when unattended. Your life is a system, and systems don't improve through insight alone. They improve through maintenance. Most people wait until something breaks before they take responsibility seriously. Daily excellence is quieter than that. It notices small misalignments early. It corrects without drama. You don't wait to feel behind. You act because the task belongs to today. Lived responsibility removes the need for self-criticism. You don't need to talk yourself into worthiness. You just keep the standard. And the standard keeps you. Over time, something subtle happens. Your days begin to feel aligned, even when they're hard. Not exciting, aligned. There's less friction between who you think you are and how you actually behave. That gap is where anxiety lives. Close it, and the noise lowers. This is not about perfection. It's about order. A sense that things are in their place, that effort is directed, that rest is earned. Daily excellence grows out of repetition, not intensity. It's shaped by what you tolerate and what you quietly refuse to let slide. This is why responsibility feels grounding. It brings life back into proportion. Nothing grand, nothing dramatic, just a steady return to what works. Responsibility, at its core, is self-management. Nothing more, nothing less. It's the ability to govern your own behavior without needing urgency to force you. Most people think self-management is about control. It's closer to stewardship. You are not fighting yourself. You are maintaining something that degrades when ignored. Attention drifts. Energy dissipates. Standards erode. Not because you are weak, because entropy is normal. Responsibility is the decision to counter that drift on purpose. Not occasionally, daily. This is where daily excellence actually lives. Not in effort, in calibration. You notice when your day starts slipping, not at the end, early. You correct gently, without self-talk, without drama. Self-management means you don't wait to feel out of control before you reassert order. You don't need intensity for this. You need consistency. Intensity burns fuel. Consistency conserves it. When you manage yourself well, life feels quieter. Not easier, quieter. There's less inner resistance, less mental negotiation, less self-betrayal disguised as flexibility. You stop arguing with reality because you've already accepted your role in shaping it. This acceptance is grounding. You no longer expect outcomes without inputs. You no longer expect clarity without structure. You no longer expect confidence without evidence. And the evidence is simple: how you handled yesterday. Self-management creates a strange kind of freedom, not the freedom to do whatever you want, the freedom from constant self-correction. When you keep your word to yourself, you stop monitoring your mood so closely. Mood becomes weather, not leadership. You act because it's time, not because it feels right. Over time, this builds a quiet self-respect, not pride, stability. You know what kind of person you are because your behavior has stopped surprising you. That stability changes how you move through the world. You're less reactive, less scattered, less pulled by what's urgent but unimportant. Daily excellence is simply this state sustained. Not flawless days, managed days. Days where effort matches intention closely enough that you don't feel divided at night. This doesn't eliminate struggle, it removes confusion. And confusion is what drains people. Responsibility, practiced this way, doesn't feel like weight. It feels like alignment. A sense that nothing important is being avoided, that nothing obvious is being postponed, that life is being handled at the scale it's actually lived, one day at a time. That's the art, not mastering life, mastering the ordinary mechanics of yourself, and letting that be enough.